I need your help. Listen, if you happen to have Twitter, look me up at Schillerverse. I need assistance because I'm trying to figure out the future scores here. I think a lot of people that are new to the ecosystem have been trying to figure things out in Discord, and it is really not clear at all. So I'm hoping to kind of make like a video document. Don't know really the angle that we're going for, but if you go and check out one of my latest tweets here, I just need your help. If you have a future score, if you have any individual assets, please comment below and let me know what you got. A lot of people have thrown their scores and what they hold down here. This might be able to help you while I'm working on this video, but again, it's information overload, so the more that you guys are able to provide, the more clear we can get. With that said, I'm not editing down this AMA much. Normally for the 30-minute max sessions with Alex, I've been trying to edit them to make them shorter. This one is full of good stuff, and I think that there's nothing really to delete on this or make a little bit shorter. So if you don't like longer videos, well, I am sorry. But that said, enjoy this Future Score AMA with the team.
MGM, how are we doing, everyone? Thank you for joining us. Let me just bring up our other speakers. And we'll give it a few minutes just for everyone to join. I know these things can take a little while to get kick-started. Looks like we've already got a decent audience here. Aaron, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
You hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. And Ben.
GM. Hey, guys.
Amazing.
Hey, Ben.
For those of you just joining, obviously I'm sure most of you know myself and Aaron, but we'll do a quick round of introductions just while we wait for everyone else to filter in. So I am Alex Mailer, the VP of Community for Futureverse, and I'm joined today by Aaron McDonald, co-founder and CEO of Futureverse, and Ben Jordan, who is the VP of Platform for Futureverse.
Good to be here.
Now, I know the main topic for today is all things kind of future score and future score quests, but while we're just waiting for the last few people to filter in, Aaron, you've literally just got back from Tokyo and the WebEx Summit there. Do you want to give us a little update on how that went?
Yeah, no, had an awesome time over in Tokyo. It's my first time back there since COVID, so it was great to catch up with our local partner team and kind of have a bunch of meetings set around new opportunities over there, which is really positive. Had an opportunity to speak at the WebEx conference. It's its first year as a conference, and it was a pretty good event all around. We're talking about intersection of AI and blockchain, and so got to let people know a bit more about what we're doing in both of those domains and how we see them coming together. The local scene over there in Japan is starting to get very hot for Web3. The Prime Minister came out and at the WebEx conference and put some political weight behind the fact that they are embracing it now. Starting to see some of the conversations, the big guys over there jumping right into it to help kind of bring more people into the space and make it simpler for them to onboard and start to leverage some of the technology. Obviously, there's a huge market there on the gaming and IP side of things as well. So yeah, lots of really interesting opportunities, and we're in the process. The main reason I went up there was to get our local office cranking again, which has kind of slowed down a little bit with the fact that we pull people out over the COVID period. But now going from kind of full steam ahead back into the market there, it's going to be really good.
Incredible. It seems like you're in a different country every week at this stage, so I'm sure there's going to be
Yep.
plenty more things coming up soon. But
yeah, next one will be up in Amsterdam, speaking at the Ripple Global Conference there in beginning of September. So keep an eye out for that one.
Amazing. Now, back to the topic at hand. We are all here to discuss FutureScore and FutureScore quests. We successfully launched FutureScore earlier this week as a means. Yay all around. But yeah, I guess first things first, let's maybe Ben, did you want to kind of give us an overview of what FutureScore is and how it works at a very high level?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, at a very high level, FutureScore is a scoring mechanic for participation in the Futureverse ecosystem. And the guys have been working really hard to figure out a fair way to, I guess, show or reflect people's participation in what it is that we're doing. The piece that's rolled out already is what we're referring to internally as the asset-based score. And keep an eye out for the next iteration, which will also include engagement, where, obviously the score will become even more dynamic than it is already. And yeah, there's an awful lot that we can do with that. So we're looking forward to getting that out as a next step.
Yeah, so it's kind of the phase one, I guess, and I just want to kind of reinforce the idea that part of the value proposition for FutureScore and the FutureQuest program is to allow us to get things into market with our early adopter community and get that feedback. So you're helping us test this out, and we've received lots of good feedback over the last few days, which teams kind of been baking into fixes and roadmap items. So really appreciate all the support you've given us so far, and please keep that up, because it's a core part of the value of the program to help us get this stuff nailed, so that as we expand into new user bases, we've got good idea that it's going to work for them and scale for them.
Nice. Well, we have had actually a lot of pre-loaded questions come through from both the Discord and Typeform link that we sent out. So I think what we'll do is we'll just spend the first half of this running through just some of the kind of known issues that we've identified so far, what's being worked on there, and some responses to some of those regular questions that had come through, and then we'll open the stage up to anyone who wants to jump up and speak, ask questions to any of us up here. But just to kick things off, we'll do a quick recap on some of the kind of known. Firstly, there's a little bit of confusion around the linking of accounts versus combining of future scores. Ben, did you want to just provide a little bit of clarity on that?
Yeah, of course. And I can understand why there is a bit of confusion. So I think that the best way to think about it is combining future scores is applicable if you happen to have more than one future pass. In reality, because you guys are early adopters, you created your future pass with multiple different wallets, so you have more than one future pass. But in the future, new users will onboard into one future pass, and they'll actually add multiple wallets to a single future pass, and might be in the same kind of situation. But yeah, combining future scores is if you've got more than one future pass and you want to be able to attribute the future score from your other future passes into the one that you want to consider your primary. And this gives the benefit of you being able to participate in quests participate in quests once with that primary future pass, and not have to do it with every single future pass, and you still get the reward for the quest completion. Linking is going to be relevant for a lot of the future use cases of FuturePass. So, technically speaking, linking a wallet to your FuturePass basically gives that wallet the ability to transact on behalf of the FuturePass. and while not exposing the assets that are in the wallet that you've connected. And this plays in a big way to, being able to link your cold wallets to your FuturePass, but it'll also be used a lot when we have more granular permissions and provide the ability for you to provide experiences and potentially even other users access to your FuturePass in the future if you want to.
It's important to note on that as well, especially when it comes to FutureScore quests, that the time held multiplier for specific assets doesn't break if you've linked those linked those accounts together, or if you've combined those future scores together as well. If you've transferred an asset to a disconnected wallet at any point, then that will break your time held multiplier. So yeah, important to link those together. And if you're still kind of struggling with the process of that, there's a couple how-to videos in the announcement channel in Futureverse Discord. The linking of accounts is done within the accounts section on your FuturePass, whereas the combining of future scores is done on the FutureScore side. Coming back to just a couple of the known issues that we've already identified, there are a couple that the internal team had identified leading up to launch, and then a few that have come through from the community. So once again, really appreciate all the feedback that we've been getting from you guys. It's really important for us to really help iron out these bugs when it comes to product launches. A couple just to address off the bat, Coinbase wallet support. Ben, can you touch on that?
Yeah, so thanks to the people that have let us know about this particular issue. So we're working through a couple of quirks with Coinbase. There are, just a couple of things we need to do differently from MetaMask due to their SDK. Now, I can confirm that you can now log in with Coinbase, and you can also link and merge your future passes using Coinbase. But the scenario which doesn't work at the moment is if you're trying to link two Coinbase accounts. So if you log into FuturePass with your MetaMask and then add a Coinbase wallet, then that will work fine. But the guys are still working through if you log in with a Coinbase wallet and try to add another Coinbase wallet.
Yeah, interoperability can be tricky when you have so many different kind of providers to work with, but it's something
Yeah, exactly.
we're working on.
Yeah, and the guys are moving towards a solution there, though.
Another one was Scene and Sounds. Can you give us an update on that there, Ben?
Yes, I can. Yeah, and again, a couple of quirks there. So scenes and sounds, there's an edge case where if you've connected well, it's not really an edge case for you guys who are participating in the ecosystem, but if the scene is attached to, say, a fluff or a party bear, and then it's unattached and it ends up back in the wallet address, then what was happening was that was actually being counted twice by the FutureScore component. So we fixed that issue, which meant that there's not that double count going on, which is great. There is also one other thing which the guys are fixing at the moment as we speak, and that's that if you have more than one of a ERC1155 in your wallet, then at this stage, we're only counting that once. We're not attributing FutureScore for anything more than one of one particular type. So when we fix that, your future scores will go up if that applies to you.
So so that first part there is why some of you may have seen a dip in your score, just because there had been some double counting going on. But as Ben just mentioned, with the ERC1155s currently only being counted once if you hold multiple of them, that will only lead to scores going up. There was also some concerns raised around the lack of inclusion on mintage. This one we can confirm was just an error on our part, and mintage is currently being added to FutureScore, it will be included before the end of this current quest. Aaron, can you clarify if that is just mintage passes, or is that
at the moment it's just passes? So we'll look at the other parts of the collection in the future, but for now, just passes.
Thank you. There was someone, I believe it was only one person, that mentioned that they had an empty wallet which produced a FutureScore. We haven't actually been able to replicate this, but if anyone has experienced this, can you please open a support ticket and send us the relevant wallet address, and we'll actually give you a bug finder's bounty for this. Additionally, there has been some reports of missing root balances. Ben, can you give us an update on this?
Yeah, you're dead right, and there is an issue with the index at the moment, which we're looking into. You may have seen that happen overnight. Source of truth, if you are experiencing that, don't panic. You can go to the Root Network Block Explorer, and that will accurately reflect the assets in that wallet. But yeah, there's just an issue with requests into FuturePass, which is happening for some users.
Yeah, so no one's stolen your root. It's still safe. It's just not showing up currently in some cases on the FuturePass website.
Yeah.
Great. Now there's a whole slew of questions that we've had come in here, so I'll fire through some of the, especially ones that were asked multiple times, and then get a little bit more granular on some of the others. There have been a number of questions regarding social media activity and how that plays into FutureScore. Ben, did you want to take that one?
Yeah, so I mentioned the engagement component of FutureScore previously, and this is where that will play in. Exactly how we're going to do that is I mean, I'm not going to disclose exactly how that's going to happen before we've rolled it out, but yeah, look out for that when we do release the engagement component. This engagement component is something that's really flexible and we'll be able to use across you know, all parts of the ecosystem, and we'd really like to think of new and novel ways, and we're open to suggestions in terms of how we can link it into social activity, and even more broader than social if we can think up some, you know, novel ideas.
Yeah, social I think is going to be a really important piece of FuturePass, because it'll enable us to capture all the awesome activity that you guys continue to create, and the content you continue to create, but also enables us to link FuturePass to social media platforms in terms of the applications and experiences. We've got some cool stuff the team's working on there to enable that kind of Web 2, Web 3 bridge between social platforms and the Root network activity. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that rolls out. But using it both for you know, the single sign-on capabilities, and also for you know, helping the community drive more activity and grow the ecosystem to new users. Social features are going to be really important to that.
I can already see a few people in Discord saying, "Oh, my Discord shilling better count for something." There's a couple questions coming through regarding Cool Cats, inclusion of Shadow Wars, Cool Pets, and also Cool Cats marketing. Aaron, did you want to take this?
Yeah, so at the moment the cats are included. So if you have OG Cool Cats, they will impact your FutureScore. We're in the process of, you know, the Cool Cats team's in the process of doing some really exciting things with pets. So we'll wait for that to play out before we start to include that activity in FuturePass. But on the marketing front, our team and their team are working together to get a Cool Cat specific community update out. They had a bunch of other stuff on their plates at the time, but very keen to get out the knowledge to the rest of the Cool Cats community about what this means for them. So start to look out for that in the near future.
Yeah, and it's important to remember this quest runs for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So long as you complete the quest within that time frame, you'll receive the reward at the end. There's been a number of questions regarding kind of the overall future score calculation and how this applies to future route rewards. I think, as we've touched on before, we really can't reveal kind of any exact calculations for this. You know, the Colonel keeps his 11 secret herbs and spices secret for a reason. Jumping into a few more kind of granular questions. The status, if you look at your FuturePass account, you see, especially once you've linked multiple different accounts to it, status of not connected for some of these. Ben, can you just clarify what that means?
Yeah, not connected in that sense is in the same vein as how MetaMask uses it. So if you're not literally connected to FuturePass with that particular wallet, then it will show as not connected, but you'll always have one that is connected, which is the one that you're currently using.
So you should only ever really see one connected wallet, but the others are just, they are linked. They're just not the one that you're accessing it from at that point in time, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Great. Someone here saying that their scenes are out of date in the stuff tab. Will this affect the score?
Yeah, so my guess is that that's referring to the scene or the 1155 issue that we're currently dealing with. So yeah, it will show that you've got one, even if you've got more than one. And when we apply that fix, it will mean that your future score will also include all of the other ones that aren't counted. So yeah.
It's also important to note that when it comes to swapping scenes and sounds, sometimes it can take a little while for the metadata to be reflected on the assets itself, but that shouldn't have any impact on your score whatsoever. So a question here, if you moved your fluff to a new wallet after a year, is the time held calculated from wallet 1 plus wallet 2? Is it a linear growth or multiplier, so you lose out by breaking the chain?
You only break the chain if you haven't connected the wallet that it used to be in. So provided you've got either through combining or linking those wallets associated with each other, then we'll treat you as the same person that owns across multiple wallets. If you haven't done that, if you haven't attached it, then yeah, it will break that chain.
I guess not actually explicitly asked here, but an important point to note, if you had a wallet that was compromised for whatever reason, but were able to transfer many of your assets out of that wallet before they were taken by a scammer or whatever, is it safe for people to still link that compromised wallet to their future score?
It is. Yeah, that's completely fine. Reason being is that, hang on, let me actually, no, sorry, I'm going to completely back out of that. Don't do that. Cheers. I answered that far too quickly. No, don't do that.
All right, we'll get some official comms out on that one.
Yeah, let's.
If you have assets spread across multiple wallets and have not moved those assets between those wallets, is there any benefit to linking wallets? If the individual future score on wallets was, say, 100 plus 200 plus 300 equals 600, would it still be 600 if I linked them all together?
Yes, it would be.
Great. So I guess the key advantage here, as we touched on before, is that if you have multiple wallets, multiple future passes, you're not having to go and complete quests on each one of those if you have linked them together.
Yeah, but I think there'll be other benefits as well going forward. There probably will be some mechanics around future score rank. So being able to link them together will increase your overall score, which will increase your rank score.
Yeah. Actually, just notice a just real-time question coming in through Discord. Is there a cutoff time when the future score gets frozen versus staying dynamic? My understanding is that it's always dynamic. Is that correct?
It's always dynamic. Yeah.
Right. All right. Is linking wallets only for calculating future score? Does it have any impact on collectibles owned by wallets? I mean, this is something I feel like we've kind of covered already. Anything else that you needed to say on that, Ben?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered that off pretty well.
Great. How securely and privately are the linked wallet addresses stored? I know some people don't necessarily want to have, the linking of certain wallets displayed publicly.
Yeah, so linked wallets is an on-chain record. So what we're actually doing there is we're applying that permission that enables that linked wallet to act on behalf of the future pass. However, combining future scores, there's no on-chain record of that. So yeah, combine all you like if you don't want that information public. Otherwise, linking is for that functional benefit as well as the future score benefit.
Perfect. There's a number of questions here. Once again, just around how we link or combine wallets. Once again, there's videos, explainer videos in the announcement page on the Futureverse Discord. If you're having any trouble with that, those walk you through step by step exactly how to do that. I've noticed this one actually just pop up in Discord again as well. How is time held calculated? People are finding old wallets that once held assets are receiving a score of 0 as no assets in them anymore, but no gains in points once they've been linked. Did you want to touch on that one, Ben?
Yes. So that is the case at the moment, but won't be soon. So watch this space.
Yeah, so I think the key thing is that time held bonuses are going through upgrade at the moment, and so most people should see, well, many people should see an improvement in score through the rejig of time held bonuses.
Has future score replaced trait drops? Every trait matters, I think. It's certainly like, I can touch on this, coming from my previous role with non-fungible labs, that future score is a more sustainable and dynamic way for us to reward our community. And that doesn't mean that every trait doesn't matter when it comes to, longer term experiences, etc.
Yeah, I think that it enables us to do trait type activity in a more scalable way. And so you could think of perhaps trait specific quests, for example, as being something that could be a function of or a feature of the Future Quest program.
Is Future Score going to be a regular monthly challenge?
Yes, it's actually more likely to be more than once a month. At the moment, we've got a cadence going of the challenges themselves lasting about 2 weeks, although we're not going to lock that down. We could have varying time for challenges, and we could also have varying time between the end of one and the start of another. But yeah, I think once a month is a good goal, but I'm pretty confident that there'll be more than one a month going forward.
Just juggling a few questions firing through from Discord as well. Just to reiterate on scenes and sounds, if they are attached to an asset, then they are, counted as well. But there is a known issue that we're working through in terms of if you hold multiple of them, they're not being counted fully. But that is something that is actively being fixed. Back to the questions here. Can a share future score button be added to spread awareness on Twitter? I mean, that's certainly something that we can look into. However, there have been issues in the past where we've had a share to Twitter type function and it's actually had people's accounts flagged for spam. So that's something that would need to be very cautious of, and especially with all the various changes going on at Twitter, or X as it's called now, it's difficult for us to know exactly how to ensure we're playing by best practices on that front. A question here regarding boroughs and how they play into FutureScore. In the Futureverse white paper, there's a separate allocation for land. Can we please shed some light on this? Maybe Aaron, did you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So I think the short answer to that is boroughs themselves have a future score value, but also the land claim component of boroughs will go live. When that goes live, those additional land collectibles will have their own score associated with them, and that score could be dependent on this type of land and those other kind of mechanics. So so kind of the whole area of land is something that we can power quests through and future score through, but there is a separate rewards pool for land related tokenomics as well. So that's in addition to the kind of collectibles based reward on top of that.
All right, moving on to the next lot of questions we have here. What is the future of FutureScore?
I think it's designed to enable us to, in the early stages, test and reward our community for helping us kind of build out the core pieces of our ecosystem. But as we kind of mature it, there's a whole bunch of exciting opportunities to work with brands and developers to use FutureScore and FutureQuest on an ongoing basis to reward community members or help engage and grow new audiences. FutureScore and FutureQuest, we're also looking at making available as a service, so that other projects or people building on the Root network can start to launch their own versions of that and maybe align that with their own tokens. And so we can make it easy for other people to start to build out quest and reward programs like this as well.
Someone in here has asked or said that my future score is currently 0. Is there any way that I can increase my score besides just buying NFTs?
Yeah, totally. Complete challenges. Like we've said all along, your activity in helping us grow the community and social spaces, platforms will count towards your score. There'll be a whole bunch of activities that are designed to help grow the community that don't necessarily require you to own any of the collectibles. But if you do, then doing those reward activities will increase your share of the rewards. So there's always a benefit to have collectibles, but not every challenge, not everyone who participates needs to have those in order to grow their score. They could be doing other things that are useful for the ecosystem.
And do we plan to introduce achievements or badges for completed quests? My understanding was this is already in place in the UI.
Yeah.
Beauty. Another question actually I saw was regarding leaderboards. Do we have plans to implement leaderboards for future scores?
Yeah, we're just thinking through. I think it'll be a feature we want to put out. We're just thinking through the best way to release that gives people choices. So I think if we do, it should be an opt-in thing, where people get to choose to share their rank. And so just working through to make sure that stuff all works. But yeah, there's an intention to have a FutureScore leaderboard, allow people to attach usernames and stuff like that to their FutureScore account, and kind of gamify the rankings a bit with other nice little reward opportunities for people who achieve certain ranks or in in certain tiers of ranks within the ecosystem.
How often is the FutureScore recalculated for a wallet? Someone's saying since the FutureScore seems to increase on a daily basis, would it make sense to complete quests at the very last day in order to maximize the route allocation? Ben, did you want to take this one?
Yeah, so the way we calculate FutureScore is all event driven. So we actually recalculate the score every time we need to show it to you. Now, what that means is that pretty much as soon as you've done something that would impact it, it should have an impact on your FutureScore. But this does not apply. It doesn't matter what your score is when you actually do a quest, because we take a snapshot of the scores at the end of the quest. So yeah, maximize your FutureScore for the end of the quest. It doesn't matter what it is when you do the quest.
There's a bit of a tangent question here, but might be worth mentioning anyways, is someone's asking how we protect from Sybil attacks. My understanding is that's not really relevant in this case, but did you want to just touch on that, Ben?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, I guess. I think probably what this question is angling at is, can it be botted, and are there ways to spin up lots and lots of accounts to game the system? We're really confident that isn't the case. At the moment, it's tied to collectibles, which makes it that's a really good defense for an attack like that, let's say. We'll have to be a bit more careful when we introduce the engagement score, but yeah, it's front and center. We're going to make sure that that's not possible. We want it to be as fair as it can possibly be.
Yeah, I think that one of the key things is that your collectibles have an impact on the score, and it's a significant impact. And so, in order to game that, you're going to have to go and buy heaps of collectibles, which is an anti-Siebel device, in the same way that trying to take over a proof of stake network is an anti-Siebel device. You have to put some capital on the line.
So all's fair in love and score.
Yep.
Someone here saying this first quest is pretty easy. Give us a hint about the next quest. How long does it take, or difficulty?
I think we want to make it fun and engaging rather than a chore.
Yeah.
So
this isn't a full-time job for everyone.
Yeah. It was designed to be easy, because you did all the hard work getting here. And so being able to, get in there and create your score was kind of the reward for all the effort, as opposed to the thing you had to do. There'll be other quests that might take more time and effort to do, because they're, part of helping us test a new feature or get a new, experience out there. But I think the idea is to not make people FutureScore farmers per se, make the experiences simple and engaging and fun to do.
I think the other thing that's really relevant here is that one of the key outcomes of these quests is for us to test the technology that we are putting out there. So in quite a few cases, our goal will be to make the quest as easy as possible, so that we know that the functionality that we're rolling out will be easy for those that are actually using it outside of the quest. Just keep that in mind. This is a mechanism for us to really improve on the technology that we're putting out there, and we really appreciate your feedback after quests as well.
Yeah, it's part of being, an innovator or early adopter in an industry like this, is you get to really play with these new developments as they happen. So really appreciate the community's involvement in this as we refine all of our user experience. Do we have any plans to offer referral links so that others can invite people to participate in FutureScore and maybe get some increased score if that person, completes quests?
It's definitely something like that is kind of one of the things we want to do with FuturePass and FutureScore. There's a little bit more design work to be completed to make sure that we have effective ways to prevent, misuse of that function and make sure that it's actually generating real value for the whole ecosystem when they do those kinds of activities. But yeah, it's something we want to engage on with the community out there as quests.
Someone asking here, how do we know that our scores are correct, and seeing some scores that seem wrong for the collectibles that are held?
I think the only thing you can do is if you think there's an issue, log a ticket.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into the details of how scores are calculated. We've been really clear on that, and so the best thing to do is if you feel like something's not working, then log a ticket. But otherwise, it's probably going to be right.
Mm-hmm. And we've been conducting some random audits and haven't found anything that's out of line except for those kind of core issues
Bugs.
that we identified. Yeah. What's currently the average future score, and how many accounts have a future score? Under which circumstances can future scores decrease?
I don't think we're going to disclose yet that kind of detail, but in terms of the things that can decrease your score, at the moment, the only thing that's really going to do that is if you change the collectibles you hold or link to that future score account. So that's going to have that has the possibility to have negative score implications or reducing score implications. But other than that, nothing else at the moment.
And someone just asking, actually, I believe we've kind of already answered this around naming FuturePass. That's something that we kind of touched on before as a feature we're looking to introduce.
Yeah, it's part of the work that's going on the revised silo protocol. The all new
and improved. Love a good product update. Now that we have FutureScore, what happens after the reward on the 8th? What's next? Staking, decentralized exchange?
Yeah, staking's the next big root network feature drop. So that's team's kind of head down working on that at the moment.
Exciting times.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. We'll hopefully try and get the paper out shortly because there's some interesting things the team have come up with in order to try and make staking simpler and allow people to participate at different tiers so that they can ease themselves into it and kind of climb up the ladders of responsibility of being a staker. And so we should be able to get that paper out in the next wee while that explains how it all works.
There's a question here, basically someone saying what's to stop people from selling all of their assets after they complete this first quest and get their score. I think we've already touched on the fact that, your future score is ongoing and dynamic. So if you were to go and sell all your assets after this first reward, then you're basically disqualifying yourself from ongoing rewards. So hold on to your collectibles. Someone here asking about tax implications. This really isn't something that we have any control or can kind of discuss in any detail. It's important to remember that tax laws change by jurisdiction. So please seek local advice whenever it comes to tax implications for things like this. What would the future mints for Futureverse collectibles like Atom, Car, etc. look like in terms of FutureScore challenges?
Yeah, I think that that's the kind of thing we want to include in the rewards programs. So we can encourage more people to participate in those activities for sure.
I think there's only two more questions here. So one just asking about, those people that bought kind of at the peak, whether there's anything custom we can do around the score for that. I think the key thing here is to remember that we have the time held benefit for long-term holding, but we really can't do any sort of custom rewards for people who bought their collectibles on secondary at the peak. And
yeah,
the final, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the thing to remember is that the rewards are ongoing. So if you bought it, during any part of the cycle and you continue to hold it, then your score will continue to increase. So in the end, everything should even out, but it's designed to be able to reward those who joined early and also those who join later on and continue to be participants in the system.
Now, with one last question here, and then we'll open it up to the stage while I jump back into Discord and just see what other questions have come through there. Final question. What happens to any unclaimed FutureScore route allocations, i.e. people who don't do the quests? Are they redistributed to people who did do the quest?
No, they're not. So what will happen with them is that they'll go back into the pool to be available for future quests.
Yeah, it could theoretically plan out that way in some quests, but we'll be specific about that.
Well, that's us for the preloaded questions. I see there's a few that have come through in Discord, but while I just get on top of all of these, Tybo, will bring you up on stage. Tybo, are you there?
It was just a question relating to time held. So if I have a fluff that I've held since August 2021, and then I decide I want to get a score in different areas, and I sell that fluff, will I lose the time held multiplier if I sell?
Time held counts for collectibles that are currently in your wallet.
So you essentially
Right.
forfeit it if you sell any. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I sell a fluff that I've held for 2 years and then I buy another one, I'll lose the time held multiplier. Okay, that's just wanted to know if that was just kept into the wallet and then the time was restarted or not. Oh, cool. That's good to know.
Cheers, Tybo. There's a couple questions just here. So to ask again, you can create a future pass without any assets. Then when quest run finishes, they will receive a future score for having completed the first quest. So you don't need collectibles to be part of the experience. My understanding is that ongoing, there will be opportunities to earn future score without having collectibles in your wallet. Is that necessarily the case for this first quest?
Do you want me to answer that, Aaron?
There you go.
No, that won't be in place for this particular one. But yeah, as you said, there will be quests where it does apply. There may be quests where it doesn't apply, but yeah, it won't apply for this first one.
One more here. Will the time held bonus be the changes be in place before Quest 1 is over?
Yeah, the guys are working on that now, and yeah, pretty confident that will apply before this first quest is done. And again, what that means is that this future score that you have at the end of this quest is the one that will apply.
We have another person up on stage with us, Atari God. How are you going, mate?
Yes, sir. I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very good, thank you. What's your question?
Okay, I got a couple real quick ones. One, I'm not sure if you answered this. Does the AI leak have any impact on our future score?
The AI League currently doesn't, but it will be possible to in the future.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Another one, and I presume the answer is yes, but when we unpack the item cards, all of the items within that will affect the future score as well?
Correct.
Okay. Kind of a technical question. So I manage a wallet for me and Sir Richard Ram. I manage the wallet for security. Will he be able to play? Will I be able to delegate privileges for him without? I don't. I want to be able to manage the security, but I want him to be able to play the game. Is that going to be something that's possible? I'll be able to delegate privileges to him. That's something you guys have thought up.
Yeah, short answer is yes. So you'll be able to, I imagine he'll have a future pass, and you'll be able to associate that wallet with that future pass. Should be no problem there.
If there's specific kind of use cases around that sort of functionality that you have in mind, feel free to drop those in a support ticket, and we can pass that on to the team to consider when it comes to the roadmap of features. Because yeah, it's often that there's these sorts of specific use cases that we don't generally think of, but so yeah, feel free to just drop those in the support ticket. We'll pass them on.
Okay, yeah, I'll put the words together. I just had two other quick ones. If you can comment on them, cool. If not, I understand. With the XRP ruling, does that is that beneficial for being able to stake and earn? Is that, and I don't know if that was like something that I know was kind of you know you know general vague territory. Is that having clarity on XRP, does that make it legal to stake and earn? Or I don't even know if I'm asking that correctly. If you understand what I mean.
I think it was a really positive outcome for the industry and obviously for Ripple and the XRPL community themselves. It didn't really address staking specifically. I think there's some other cases going through at the moment. I think probably most notably Coinbase's, which will probably shed more clarity on that. We think that if there was to be a judgment in what I've seen so far, and again, this is not like legal or financial advice, the issue that the SEC has taken up with staking is when someone was being a custodial service provider. And so there haven't, as far as I'm aware, been any issues that have been related to staking directly in a proof of stake system. So for proof of stake staking, which is like a specific kind of thing, I think that's relatively safe. It's probably a little bit different when you're holding those tokens and then doing something with them on behalf of someone else. That changes the kind of responsibilities you have as the custodian, and that then has implications for what you're supposed to do and how you're licensed. And then staking as it relates to collectibles, for example, I think that's still pretty murky territory. And FutureScore is not designed to. It's designed to try and provide a way to reward our community without having to go through that process, which could be risky.
Okay, I understand. I'm literally shaking, guys, for real. I guess the last thing, and I don't even know if it's been thought about, but Sir Richard won't stop bothering me to ask if there will be any kind of DNA attached to the eggs that came from, like, we bought an egg that came from a zombie, and he keeps wanting me to ask, or to bring to your attention if any kind of DNA from the eggs from the fluffs will, if you guys have taken that into consideration when we're breeding. And that's my last question.
No, it's not. It's not currently baked into what the egg does, in terms of like how it gets its traits.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys for giving me the time up here. I'm excited for the journey. This is amazing.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cheers for coming on board.
All this talk of proof of stake just reminded me that you bought a bunch of, was it Wagyu?
Yeah, I got taken to a nice restaurant in Tokyo, which serves what I'm told the best Wagyu in Japan. So it was a really nice experience and delicious meal. I mean, everything in Tokyo is delicious. Doesn't matter where you go, but yeah, it was pretty special.
All right, back to questions in Discord. Someone here asking if there's any chance to include lending platforms into the holding bonus. I don't believe that's something that we're considering, but Ben or Aaron, did you want to touch on that?
And we'd have to look into that a bit more. It may not even be possible depending on how they manage their bolts and stuff.
The scores for each category, e.g. asset owned, participation, activity, etc., that contribute to your score going to be locked in as static values, or will they be dynamic and change over time?
Maybe.
It's all dynamic, except for the parts that aren't. If we have already linked a compromised wallet, should we unlink it?
Just let me get a proper answer back on that. I'm confident that that combining would be fine, but linking probably not. But please just wait until we put out a note about that.
But is it best practice then for people?
I think
who already...
for now, unlink it.
Yeah.
But just need to check that the process of unlinking doesn't expose you to any further risk, right, Ben?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
The active linking provides the ability for that key to use your future pass. So if that's compromised, then you're providing the ability for that to be used potentially by the party that might have it. Combining does not have that effect, but yeah, we want to provide the ability for you to benefit from the time held factor for those compromised keys. So we'll put out a note explaining exactly what to do. For now, unlink.
Someone here has said that we should definitely introduce some chores as well to reward people that want to put in the extra work.
Yeah.
Go and wash the dishes quest.
Oh, you're really in dad mode now, eh? Will there be any link between staking reward amounts and users' future score? E.g., higher score equals higher yield.
Something we're looking at.
All right. While I'm just getting up on a few of these. Can we have an update on sends and root? Is there any timeline on that currently?
Nothing that we've communicated publicly.
So I see Metablocks has just requested to speak. We'll bring you up for a second. Just while you're joining, see a question here. We did mention there was some current stuff that we're working on in terms of the time held bonus. So just in response to your question there, Resistance, we're actively reviewing some of the calculations around time held bonus, and we'll have those finalized before the end of this quest. Metablocks, how's it going?
Alex, Aaron, how you going, guys?
Hey,
Ben. Well, congrats on the score, the FutureScore launch. It's been good to see it all come out. Just I suppose through some discussions in Discord, just with regards to, I suppose, less for myself, more for someone who's looking at the ecosystem or looking at getting in. And obviously, the market's well aware of how predatory blur farming has been and how negative the effect it's had on projects. it seems to look like there's things in place to definitely obviously reward the holders over time. But if you're listening in now and you're not a holder and you're hearing people talk about loyalty bonuses, for holding for 1 or 2 years, I don't know how much you can say or what you can say on that, but is it linear, or is there like a, for example, 1 month or something, and then it starts ramping up quite significantly to sort of deter someone just buying up front and claiming and then dumping them?
It's definitely dynamic, and there's two kinds of multipliers. One that applies to historical pre-Future Quest launch, and then one applies to ongoing. So there's you're not necessarily going to get the same benefit for if you just went and kind of bought everything today as if you held from the beginning.
Yeah, and I guess the discussion that we're having in Discord before is more like, my point is, I might have bought fluff in January of 2022 for 10x the price. So my pitch, if I'm talking to someone who's coming into the ecosystem now, is, yes, you mightn't have that loyalty bonus, but you can probably buy 5 or 6x the assets that you could. So in my mind,
evens out.
Yeah, exactly. In my mind, I think potentially that the bonus to enter the ecosystem now off the back of the fundraise and where development is now versus 12 months ago, I think is looks pretty good to me. So I think the balance looks if better to those entering the ecosystem now.
I won't disagree, but not financial advice.
Yeah, that was it. Thanks, and great work. Well done to the team.
Cheers. Thanks, man. I appreciate your support too.
Question here, are root rewards being dispersed on the day that the quest ends?
Yes, yeah. So as soon as the quest ends, we'll take a snapshot, and then there's a bit of a process the devs need to do to get it out. But yeah, you can expect it pretty soon after the quest finishes.
Do delegated wallets work to link for FutureScore? That would only be the case if they are linked to the specific future pass itself.
Yeah, so by delegates, I imagine we're meaning linking. So if you link an address, the FutureScore relating to the assets that are in the wallet apply, but not the collectibles that were in the future pass that wallet was associated with, if it was. So if you want to combine future scores, then you want to combine future scores, not link.
And one more question here. Any future link between Asto Energy and future scores?
Those kinds of things we're looking into now, like how tokens and other resource types could impact the score. The focus for us with Asto at the moment is getting a bunch of these new game and intelligence related applications and services out. So those will all include Asto token mechanics or energy mechanics and the brains. And so that's our kind of top priority now on the Asto ASM front. Pretty much every game experience the team's working on right now is going to be leveraging the ASM capability in it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're focused on for now.
And someone here has also just asked around, will running a silo node factor into FutureScore?
Can neither confirm or deny.
All right, we are pretty much closing on this. Let's see, BTC Hornet, bring you up, but I think we've covered all of the questions within Discord. There's a question actually here, just around any update on TTK white paper.
The perennial question. The update is the same, which is it'll be ready when it's ready.
It's the new win thingy alpha.
Yeah.
I had a question about thingies, and I'll try to make the question related to FutureScore. Also, so matching thingies, fur. If you own two thingies and the fur matches the scene between the two, is there a higher FutureScore for holding that asset, or is there another reward being contemplated?
We're not getting into that level of detail on how FutureScore is calculated.
Okay.
And just so that people know, we're not being cute there. There's a specific reason why we're not disclosing that level of detail.
Okay. Is there
doing that kind of thing breaks the whole approach for making sure that we can get these into people's hands safely.
Will there be a separate reward for matching thingies in the future? Some other item?
I don't think we'd confirm that right now. Just keep an eye on the quest program.
Come on, give me something. Give me some thingy alpha.
Thingies are dope. We love the thingies.
All right, great job, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
Nice one. Well, that's it for all of the questions that I can see coming through, and pretty much bang on an hour, considering we started about 5 minutes late. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Aaron, for jumping on. I know it's been a pretty hectic week for you, and you've literally just got back in from Japan. Thanks, Ben. Great to have you here on the space with us. Looking forward to discussing this more as we continue to roll out more pieces of FuturePass, FutureScore, and quests. Any final thoughts that we want to leave people with?
No, I think just thanks everyone for bearing with us as we got to this point. Team's been cranking out all these kind of fundamental Lego bricks. Some really exciting stuff still to come out in that side of things, and we're really kind of starting to ramp things up now. Hope people are starting to see that there's plenty of cool things on the horizon that we're excited to share with you, but really appreciate your patience with us as we got this stuff in place. It's not easy to build, doing stuff for the first time in a lot of cases, and we do really appreciate the support you give us as we kind of go through this journey together.
Cheers, Aaron. Any final thoughts there, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, echoing Aaron's sentiment, it's been really, really cool for the team to see the positive feedback from this particular rollout. Yeah, the guys are really motivated. They're working their socks off, which is awesome to see, and we're really excited about the next chapter. Thanks very much for your support, team. Great.
Thank you all. We will see you in the metaverse in its various stages of infancy. I'll be hosting another 30 Minutes Max next week, likely Wednesday or Thursday. We'll confirm the timing of that by end of Monday. For those of you who aren't aware, 30 Minutes Max is just a casual chat in Discord where we can just catch up and discuss anything. And then there'll be some more official comms coming out in podcasts, AMA, technical deep dives over the coming months. But appreciate you all. Thank you for being on this journey with us, and we'll see you soon.